Hello YouTube. Today we're at North Platte and we're having a look at the Hump Yard. I've set it up to work, so today we're going to sort some cars and have a look at how it's set up and the way I use it. So what we've got is a few cars here to sort, around 700 I think. It's all fully automated. We have all the consists in the eastbound arrival track. There's also another train due, so we'll go through and we'll sort all these. I won't put you through the pain of going through all of them, but yeah, it takes around 4 hours to sort them all, but we'll show you bits and pieces on the way. First of all, I'd like to give a big shout out to my friend Trevor. He's known on the Trainz forums as Trev999. He's done a lot of work for me in sorting out all the scripts and whatnots, triggers, etc., to make all this work. So without him, this wouldn't have happened. So together we've developed it all into quite a nice system. So, North Platte eastbound hump is 62 tracks in the bowl. They're set up for the different industries we have eastbound down on the Columbus map, and for the other destinations that North Platte dispatch trains through. It's not the final setup that I'll have, but it gives a pretty good representation of what's going on, and you'll see how I've set up the hump yard. Later on I'll show you the technical side of things, but just to start off with, we'll go through and watch a few cars being sorted. So first consist has been pushed up to be put over the hump, and the second consist here has been pushed through to be ready to be sorted after this consist. Now I'm just using a couple of SD40s on each consist. One looks after each side of the yard here because there is no crossovers, so I presume that's how it works in real life. And I'm using just some fill-in SD40s until I build my own. So we'll go and have a look. As I said, it's fully automated. I don't have to worry about switching tracks or anything else like that. These cars have all got destinations, and the yard will sort it to whichever its destination is. I'll explain all this a little bit further in a little while. Now I'm using the Hump Yard tower here from Trainz Roots Pro. I forget the guy who did it now, but as far as I know, it's still available from there. And that basically just decouples the car. What's happening is we're just driving through on DCC throttle set to about 3 k's an hour, and we'll put it on to miles per hour. Beg your pardon. We'll switch over shortly, but here you can see yard 1 is driving through till it leaves the track mark to sort the whole consist. We can see it currently has 52 loads and 55 empties, and the consist is 107 cars long at the moment. We've already dispatched a few cars on their way. And here we have the second consist waiting to be sorted when this one finishes. Okay, what I'll do is I'll just turn the switches on so you can display the junctions so you can see what's going on. I did pick a time when there was not much happening, didn't I? This is all no hands, all automatic. Sort of like no hands ma. Listening to a few YouTube videos on North Platte Hump Yards. Apparently they loaded cars, they will only release one at a time. However, with empty cars they will do two at a time. However, my yard does not do that. They're all switched individually or decoupled individually. But you can see as the cars are going down, they run across a trigger and it switches the switch to put them onto the right yard depending on their destination. Okay, so we'll have a look and see how this works. Now, every one of these cars has a destination. We'll come back a bit here. Right, what I do with these cars is that they are loaded wherever they're at. They're loaded for a destination, and you can see here that they have a little tag on them. I remember when I was younger and used to look at the train yards a long time ago, that they would often scribble on the wagon in chalk for its destination. So it's kind of extrapolating it a bit, but all my cars will have a destination like this on them, and this will tell them where it's going. It's actually like you'll load the car with grain or whatever it is, but this is also a load as well. So at the plant where it's loading, it also loads this little tag here, which is has its own QUID. So what's actually happening is the triggers are sorting on that QID to send the wagon to its correct destination. So this one here is going to North Platte empty grain, so it's just a place where all the empty grain cars are collected before sending out, say, depends on who's ordered it, to the shuttle, to the elevators further down the track on eastbound. If they want 6, well, you just pull them out of the empty line. Here we have it's going to Council Bluffs General 3. So at the moment I've got these bigger centres set up for just General 3, General 2, General 1, etc. As there's 3 tracks used for Council Bluffs. So it's going to EC feed. It's temporarily gone completely out of my mind. This here, North Platte empty grain, another one for there. Houston General 1. Belt Clearing Yard General 4. And Belt Clearing Yard General 4, Fort Worth General 2, and as it leaves here, there's a trigger here before and it will switch the junctions as it goes in front of each one. There's a trigger, it will read the QUID and switch the points accordingly. So what we'll do is I'll show you how this works, say at an elevator or something. I've set up a little demonstration over here. Okay, let's just say these cars have been loaded with grain and they're going to different destinations. So what we do is this is how it would happen when I'm playing a session. Is we'll just decouple this, and back away. Okay, now what we'll do is we will load where they're going. We'll send this, say, to Council Bluffs General 1. So there you go, with a driver command. They're now loaded with Council Bluffs General 1. Notice these ones are not loaded with a destination yet. Okay, and we'll send this one somewhere else. Let's say we'll send it to the Belt Clearing Yard General 1. And there we go, Belt Clearing Yard General 1. And we'll set the other. Whoop. Don't think we quite. There we go, that's better. Notice how it didn't change these first two that we loaded. So these are still for Council Bluffs General 1, and this is for Belt Clearing Yard, and we'll send these last two, these last three somewhere else. And what do we got? We'll send these to Proviso General 2A. And there we go, Proviso General 2. Now, wherever I load these, whatever siding or whatever industry I load these in, I don't have to worry about where to make sure I sort these into the right train or make sure they get to the right destination or anything else like that. The way my yards are set up, these are automatically put onto the right track, so I don't ever have to look at this again. It will just turn up at Council Bluffs General 1, or say like the elevators that we saw previously in the Columbus map. Say like we're going to Elm Creek or something like that, it will just automatically be sorted onto the right track excuse me, in the Hump Yard, and will go out on the local and be placed on that track. I don't ever have to worry about even if it's coming from somewhere like my Washington state maps or anything else like that. It will automatically get there. It will put it all on the right trains to to get there. So that's how that works. Here we go. Yeah, it's filling a bit. We'll get rid of those. And as you can see, Houston General 1, going to Fort Worth General 2, Fort Worth General 3, Proviso General 1, Council Bluffs General 1 for the ADM edible oils, Shula Feed, Shula Abattoir to be loaded with frozen beef or chilled beef, whatever it's the Lexington Chemical. It's actually it's got a wrong label. That needs to be changed to cement. There's a couple of cement industries there, so and that's for Gothenburg. There's chemical and grain part together there. And here we are, North Platte empty grain cars, so they'll just all stack into there. There's also, if a wagon doesn't have a destination assigned to it, they're stuck onto one of these tracks here. And also one of these tracks here is for if the destination is to the west, like these are all eastbound destinations here, but if there's something that comes through for a westbound destination, it'll go into this track, and this is pulled over and sorted on the westbound hump over here, which is not set up yet. We'll just have a look at a few of these cars arriving. Now I have got retarders on the end of all these tracks, so they will not run any further. They'll come through and they'll stop here. I'm actually getting a little bit of freezing. I would say that has to be through the filming, as I haven't had that before when I've been testing this. Yeah, so this is basically how it works. We'll stop this, and well, I'll leave it carrying on, and we'll just edit out a bit and show you. We'll just go up here first. As I said, these are just filling SD40s until such time as I build my own ones. I have got a couple of railroad mods ones, but I haven't got them into the game, so I don't know whether I will or I won't yet, but at some point I will build my own SD40s. And we can see this consists here. Next one up on the list, as soon as this one's finished, it clears. You can see this one here is waiting for Hump East available. So when that changes to 1, this consists on the far track here will start pushing through to sort its cars. When this one's finished, it will automatically find an empty track here, and we'll go down and come through, find a track with a consist in it, and start pushing that one through. So I don't have to worry about this in game. It will automatically look after itself. There is another eastbound manifest arriving. I'll show you that when it comes in. That's all automated. He arrives, disconnects, and heads off to the loco facility, and the SD40s will hook up and sort that train as well. The way I have it done here is they will automatically just go through the tracks until they're all clear, or if I have it set up so that on the train variables here, if I set train var 5 here to like it starts over here 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if I say set this to track 7, it will go and sort that consist on track 7 as the next one that it will do. So it gives the option for me to if I want a particular consist sorted next, because I want the cast for a made up train, I can do that. Okay, while we're sorting this, I'll leave this sorting, and I'll go to a previous recorded video now and show you how this is all set up and how it's done. Okay, as I said, we'll have a look at the technical side of things and explain how all this works. Right, first of all, we'll just have a look at these track marks. As you've seen so far, the consist will push up as far as here and wait until the hump is not being used. Before starting its hump, here's the TPR hump tower that decouples the cars. When they decouple, there is a slight what would you call it, momentum, or a slight kick that it gives it just ever so slightly. I've added where are we? This is better. We'll go to here. These triggers here give the car a kick to get it away from here. Otherwise, they tend to be too close. So it just sets a speed of, where are we? 4 meters per second. So it can be adjusted to whatever you want to make it work. It works about 4 works for me on this particular track. So what happens is when the car gets within obviously 20 meters of this trigger, it will switch the junction depending on the destination of the car. The destination, as I said, is QUID for a load on the car. So as it comes down, it will, as it gets to each trigger, it will sort via the QID number of that destination, of that QIDs rather, and hence every destination has a different QID, so it's it sorts from that down more triggers for each junction as it goes, and hence everything will be sorted into its correct track. Now all the purple triggers here are retarders. You can select which way you want to set it up: high power, low power, bring to a halt. Here I have these just set at low power to just to retard they build up speed coming down the hump, and this just slows it a little to make it travel down the bowl track at a respectable speed. If you don't, they tend to be a bit fast. So that's what they're for. As you'll see here, these are just a sign that just lets me know what each track's used for. So the number from 16,000 to 16,099 will be sorted onto this track here. So as you go up here, this trigger will, any QID that's 16,100 or any between 16,000 and 16,099 will be switched right to go here. If it's greater than that, obviously it'll continue down onto this track, and hence that's how it's all done, is by just the cars running over this trigger and switching the junction, and just through a bit of complicatedness gets it onto each of the tracks, so all the numbers match out. As you can see, it builds up 17, 71, 72 Fort Worth tracks through to the Houston tracks. These are spare. As I said, this is only temporary. These tracks these ones will be moved over to make room for other tracks later on as I get things further down the track, more developed. So here we just have a catch track. It's North Bend, Schuler Chemical, Schuler Feed, Schuler Abattoir, Columbus Oil, Columbus General, Central City Ethanol, Central City Feed, Grand Island Flats, Grand Island Feed, and hence all the way across. So that makes it very easy to block the local. Hence there's not too much traffic on this side of the hump, but more on this side. But I don't know how the real hump's set up. I believe they can switch modes and switch different tracks, etc, etc. So I'm not as complicated as that. I'll just settle for this. So anyway, I'll show you how we set up a trigger. We'll just jump down into here. Now again, this is Trevor's stuff. He's an absolute wizard. I'd be lost without him doing this stuff. So what we'll do is we'll add first thing we need is a directional trigger rule. I don't know what Trevor's released. I know a lot of stuff he hasn't released. We'll just find this. Here we are. It's not going to be in the right place, but here we have the directional trigger. We'll just drop it down one. Trevor hasn't released a lot of this stuff. I don't know whether he intends to or whether he doesn't. It works in 2010. I believe it will work in 2012. In the last update they did, I believe before that the cars wouldn't roll after they went through the hump tower. But I believe that bug was fixed in the last version, so I think it works in 2012. I have no knowledge because I don't run 2012. In Tane, it will not run. I think if Trevor releases the stuff onto the download station, I believe it'll be updated for Tane, but when I tried it right back at the very start of when Tane first came out, there were issues and it won't run, so I don't know whether Trevor's prepared to update it to work in Tane, I don't know, or whether he's prepared to release any of this, because some of it might be just modifications to existing ORAN rules or N3V's rules or whatever, so they might get a bit scratchy about it, so I don't know the situation. So anyway, we'll just continue on and leave all that rubbish behind. The next thing we want is we've done the directional trigger, and we want check destination rule. And the last one that we want is a set junctions rule. Okay, so we'll ignore everything else that's previously here because it's already been done. But anyway, these are the three commands that a trigger is set up. Directional trigger rule, check destination, which is checking the car, and then you set the junction. So we'll just we'll go and we'll set. Hold on, please work. Why isn't this working? Oh, that's right, because we're got the rule thing open. Okay, here we are. So let's set this up. It's natural. Hang on, we need one other one. We need two set junctions. Beg your pardon. Where did that go? Just there. We'll move it up to where we are working. Okay, so this is the rule that listens out for what happens. So this is trigger NP022. So we'll edit this and we'll add the trigger. It's approaching from behind the trigger. So we click behind. We enter obviously enter the trigger. NP22. Here we are. And then what we want to do is this trigger reads the QID of the car for its destination. So what we want to do is send the destination number to the child rule. So we'll click yes on that. And obviously this auto sets the rule once it's done, so it can be used over and over again. So if we move this to the right, it becomes a child rule. So it's a child of this directional trigger. So here, we won't worry about setting the junction just yet. Now what we'll do is we'll set up the check destination. So let's take this down a little here. Notice it's very hard to see here, but what are we? Running number is between. So we'll just go down the track here. So the running number is between. That's for switching the trigger for this track. 187. So because it's North Platte, it's 187. And the next one here is 188. So the next number here is 187. As we saw just before, if it's say for Fort Worth or something like that, the number spreads a lot bigger, say like 100 numbers. So, but anyway, because it's just going to Columbus General Yard, it will just be that number 187. So if the car is 187, has the QID of 187, it will switch. We'll make this a child rule by indenting it one further, and the junction is going to be 3730. Edit that. Add a junction 3730. There we are. And junction direction we want left. There we go. And what I do is I put 3730 left, just in the naming here, so as when you're looking through the thing, you can very quickly find the correct destination or correct junction direction for sorting out bugs and the like. Makes it a lot easier. Now that switches, if it's 187, it'll switch to the left. If it's not 187, it'll just stay to the right. Now we have to add this extra junction in here, because what happens is, okay, 187, it'll switch to the left. It will not reset to the right. So if the next car comes down and it's 186, it's not going to switch back to the right. So we have to add this here. So we add junction again, 3730. Here we go. Direction we want right. Three 730, and we press right. There we go. So what happens? It comes down, touches the trigger, automatically switch the junction to right. Then it will check for the destination. Sorry, let's start that again. It comes down, touches the trigger. The trigger reads the destination in the destination QUID in on the car. It sends that destination to here. In the meantime, it switches this junction right. Checks the number is 187. If it's not, it will just exit here. If it's is 187, it will turn the junction left and it will go down this track. So that's basically all it is to it. If we go further back up, this one here, it'll take all the from 186 to 188. We'll switch right. If it's going 189, if it's 189 here, it will switch left and go left here, and so on further and further up the food chain until you get, say, like way up to here, and you know the number split here is huge. You know, everything from 00 to, I don't know, what is it, 187 or something that's way up here. Everything will go right, everything that's not will go left, and then is sorted on its way down to get everything into the right track. So totally confusing, isn't it? But that's about the best I can explain it. I hope you understood. Apologies if you can't, but that's the basics behind that part of it. Come down to here, we have more retarders. These ones are set to halt, high power halt. and I run 2 just as a safety thing, because the last thing you want is one blowing through. So these are just a double up of them, and they're at the end of every track there to stop cars blowing through onto the connection tracks and making a mess. These do not affect a loco coming in and picking up the consist and pulling it out to build a train. They don't cause any problems like that. There's no need to switch off the retarders or anything else like that. The only retarders that do need to be switched off if you're going through them or backwards through them are these ones here, but I don't run them further down. Trevor had them he's got a rule that switches them off. But they're not needed for this particular setup. So cheers, Trev. Top work, mate. And thank you guys for having a look at this. Hope I didn't confuse you too much. Anyway, we'll go back to the other stuff. Okay, here we are, 45 minutes in now, and the yard's starting to fill up a little. Notice how this one stopped short. This happens because this car's a loaded cement car and hasn't got enough momentum to make it to the end. I noticed in my test this is the only one that does it, so eventually I'll get a smash in the back and get pushed along to meet up with us, but occasionally you get these kind of glitches. Actually, this yard's pretty well behaved. I had made the Pasco yard in Washington State, and it wasn't quite off the UTM tiles. It was kind of a bit of freelance, if you know what I mean. And I had trouble with loaded cars running into the back of empty cars because of the extra weight on the car behind increased the momentum, and it touched on the back, and occasionally you'd get a car that was sorted onto the wrong track. But this yard, it's obviously designed properly and it's directly off the UTM tile, so this is what's in North Platte, and it goes really well. I've never had a trouble with 2 cars coming together, but however, as I said, this one that stopped short just here is an issue. There's an artifact out there. There's no track out there. And here we have the previous load that was coming through. He's gone down and got another consist and pushed it forward, ready to go when this one here's done. So the hump yard doesn't have any downtime at all. It's one after another the loads are put through, the consists are put through rather. Okay, here we are, a bit over an hour into it, and we've just finished the consist on the northern track there, and see up here he's looking for an empty track. He's away, and the variable. Well, this is another one of Trev 999's marvels, as we can see here the variables when this consist here has been waiting for this variable here to change to 1. When it does, it switches it to 2, which means it's using the hump. So this one, when he pushes his consist back through, he won't be able to go until he receives a 1. When he gets to this, and when he's finished executing this driver command, set, hold on, no, here we are, he'll change hump east available to 1, and that train will be waiting for hump east available and change it to 2. So only one train can put its consist through the hump at a time. Again, it's so I don't have to do anything, it just runs all automatically. This consist is going through now, has 45 loads and 53 empties. And we're pushing through, what are we, 2 mile an hour or 3 kilometers an hour, whichever you prefer. Okay, here we are, an hour 23 into it, and yard's starting to fall now. We'll just have a look here and see how we're going. These should all be Fort Worth General 3. See how many mistakes it's made. There we go. These should all be General 2. Fort Worth has 4 tracks assigned to it. Kansas City has 4 tracks assigned to it. Houston has 2 tracks assigned to it. So the frame rate's slightly down too on what I have been getting. The only thing that's different is it's got the recording software on it. We're running around 20 at the moment, and usually it's up around the 25-30 mark at this stage. So it looks like that video capture software is taking a bit of a hit, which is not good. I was hoping to run sessions, but if it's going to cause this kind of a problem, it's having my doubts. I've also had a direct derailment as well. That in the 20 or more times that I've run it so far, I've never had such a problem. So the only thing that's different this time is video capture software for making the video. So it's just a little bit disappointing, I'm afraid. A little bit disheartening. I'm using Plaze TV, so I've heard Bandicam's quite good, so I might have to buy a subscription to that, so we shall see. Here's the derailment here. Not a happy chappy. As I said, I've tested this so often to get the bugs out of it. Never had this trouble before. Okay, here we are. I'm back at the eastbound receiving yard, and we have the eastbound manifest arriving into the arrivals yard, so we'll go down and have a look. We're gradually working through the consists. We have the SD40s ready to push the next consist through. And here he is. What's happening now with these commands is it's just finding an empty track for the consist to pull into. What happens is it alternates. I've got it to set to alternate between finding a clear track on the side or finding a clear track on the side, so when they arrive they just alternate. SD70, SD90H2 and a Norfolk Southern -9, and as you can see all of these have their SP as St. Paul. Charlotte Abattoir. Proviso General. Obviously these are going back to Norfolk Southern via Proviso Yard. These will be for St. Paul. Block of empty sand cast for reloading. Mind you, CMEX is these are actually cement hoppers, but they're the size for sand cars. And as you can see, he's picked a vacant track. But this video will be a long one. Hope it doesn't bore your socks off too much. There's always the exit button. Okay, we have arrived. Obviously we can't clear the locos at this stage as the track is blocked, but we have it set here for, what are we, there we go, lights off, door open, and the drivers to vacate. Loco 1, no crew. And this set of commands here in this library are for decoupling the locos and taking them over to the service yard. So here we have the SD40s from the B track, or what I have called the B track, going back to pick up the next consist of soda ash cars from Green River. So said you'll find a here we are, and we're just sticking one crew back in the hostler to take the locos back to the Hump Yard is filling a little now, and you notice the car that was up here has had a bash in the back, and he's down where he should have been in the first place. Don't know which one it was. Now here we are, it would have been these two here. So it's had a few grain hoppers. These must be loaded grain hoppers, and momentum's pushed them down into where they should be. But as you go through it, you notice that none of these have overrun. We still have to clear this derailment, so I'll rerun it through without video recording it and finish off the last part of it. What we got is you can't run normal rolling stock for this setup. The rolling stock has to be modified to take extra cues, to take these extra products or the destination QUIDs. Also, this jointed rail have a cars fix script. I've modified that too for some other features that are not explained today. That also assists with having the cars stop on the retarders here. So yeah, you just can't run normal rolling stock. So if you do something like this, you have to modify all the rolling stock. Otherwise, they'll just all end up down in this one track here, where all the stuff with no destinations arrive. There's one I was going to show you down here. Nope. It's that Alliance Nutrition at Cozad. So this one here, repair track, North Platte repair track. So if the wagons are damaged or something, I intend to run a dice to say, you know, how many cars are damaged in the thing that need to be serviced before they go on their way. Now the cars will come out of here, you know, sorted, so like you want to build a train for Fort Worth. You know, you'll probably take Fort Worth and Houston in the same consist, so it'll be these 6 tracks. You might even put Oklahoma in it as well. There's some 3 Oklahoma tracks here, and I believe I've seen on some North Platte videos where they combine the Kansas City, Fort Worth, Oklahoma and Houston stuff all together and end up with some monster trains, 12,000 feet, 19,000 tons, monsters. So obviously the cars are pulled here and you build your trains down here to go east. Although here we have this artifact again. Is it? Oh. Yeah, it's that derailment. Yeah, so you build the trains up here, pulling it from the yard. I don't know whether I'll automate it all or whether that's one manual thing I'll have to do. I'm not sure. Might be able to automate, say, building the bigger trains for the bigger places, say like for Proviso or Belt Clearing Yard or St. Paul, Council Bluffs. But where it comes to building the stuff for the locals out here, it might have to be blocked specially for what you want to do with the local. Anyway, enough of that rubbish for now. We'll head back and there he goes, and we'll come back and have a look at he's already got his headlights back on. He's decoupled. Didn't catch that as good as I wanted to. Never mind. Once he's clear, he will still not quite 100%, but we'll work on that. I have a trigger that clears specific variables, so if I place it here, so soon as the SD40s clear this on the way up, it'll free the variable that frees this junction, this piece of track in here. So we'll adjust that. And at the moment that's where the commands stop for this. I'll probably automate it to take it down onto the tracks where the servicing is. So fuel, sand, etc. "86 loads in this fine." Well, what are we down to now? 84 loads and 5 empties for the Green River Soda Ash Local. Again, all have destinations. I put white on one side and black on the other, so if it's a white car it shows up, if it's a black car the white one shows up, so it either shows up on one side or the other. And for night time, of course, too, the white side it's not doesn't dim in the dark. It may be unrealistic, but works for me. Here we are at the end. It's about 4 hours to sort 700 cars, 689 to be exact. And we need to bring this video to an end, so we have a frame rate of let me see, 22, 23. It's not as good as I was getting when without the video capture. It does take a bit of a hit. I believe the video card is actually maxed out as usually when I'm running a map and the frame rate gets bogged down, you change the overclocking on the CPU, and it actually makes a difference, or probably 10-15 frame rates per second. But in this scene here, changing the CPU overclocking makes absolutely no difference whatsoever, going from 3.7 to 4.6. So yeah, so that's about that. I got a GTX 980 in here, so in the next 12 months I'm hoping to get a GTX 1080 Ti, so that should make a bit of a difference. Well, it'll be interesting to see what sort of a difference it makes. So there we are. Thanks for looking at my stuff. Hope you found it interesting. Sorry for being such a long one, and I hope you didn't find it too confusing. Hope you found it interesting. Cheers.